if he thinks they can suppress people, including the judiciary, including parliament, so that he's left alone to rule, I can assure him that the people of this country are ready to face him up to the last man. He will not manage. The same court that he's undermining, the same judiciary is undermining, President William Ruto is undermining. Supposing now we say, wait a minute, we want to revisit the ruling that was made by the same Supreme Court and say, we don't agree with them, therefore we're removing from office. We shall know that Martha Koome has been compromised. Yeah? And while we celebrated her as being the first lady Chief Justice, she would have failed our mothers, she would have failed our wives, she would have failed our daughters, she would have failed Kenya, she would have failed Africa, she would have failed the globe, she would have failed the world.
Hello there and welcome to Philip Kisia Unscripted. My name is Jadil Kabir. This particular week for conversation on politics and governance, these conversations come to you truthfully and honestly from former Nairobi Town Clerk, Leadership and Governance expert Philip Kisia. He says it as he says it. Today's conversation is on Ruto Koome dialogue, assessing Raila's stance on no dialogue, saying the judiciary will be compromised. Why talk about something that is already in court? I hope you're having a good day. My name is Jadil Kabir. Philip Kisia, thanks for making time once again to this particular program. How are you doing? How's this week for you? Well,
I'm good. I thank God that I'm still breathing. And nobody has made effort to dispatch me to the Almighty.
Mambo ni matatu jakupata?
No, not yet. Yeah, but you know, we're always protected by the Almighty God. So any attempt to dispatch me will be defeated.
We're talking about compromising the judiciary. Chief Justice Martha Koome says this Ruto is taking us to a place where we don't want to be when it comes to looking at a place of anarchy. But while on it, still saying he hasn't made any formal complaint, but she's suggesting that they need to talk, to have a dialogue. Now you look at the president saying, look, on this other side, I am very ready to talk. I will lead the executive. The CJ will lead the judiciary. And then you have to ask yourself, if he hasn't made any formal complaint, is it genuine when he says, look, let us now talk about what is happening with the judiciary?
You know, Jadel, Ruto is a liar. Let's start from there. He's a liar. And he double speaks. Ruto is not a man you can trust, even for 1 second. In fact, when you're meeting him, don't even blink. Don't even shut your eyes for a second. Yeah? He's a dangerous man. If you have time, just play this clip where he had promised Kenyans. What am I trying to get to? I just want to confirm from all his utterances, he has never spoken the truth.
Which clip is that?
Look at this clip. If you have it, look for it. Where he promised Kenyans that in a couple of weeks, the dollar will come down. And this is head of state making a statement that the dollar will come down to maybe, I don't know, 110, 115.
Let's listen to that.
Yeah.
From this month of April, all our fuel marketers, and all the people in that space, they will be able to buy our products, fuel products, in Kenya shillings. And it will remove pressure on our dollars. In fact, in the next 1 month or so, you will see dollars coming down, the exchange rate coming down in a very phenomenal way. In fact, in my estimation, in the next couple of months, the dollars will come, the exchange rate will come below 120 shillings. Maybe 115.
So you're saying Ruto is a liar?
He's a big liar. And you see, it's the most unfortunate because even the children who have not been born do not trust Ruto. Even those who are still, you know, forming. Because everybody now, from all his utterances, play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully. It's all about lying. It's all about dishonesty. So I would be very wary if indeed Martha Koome, who is running a different arm of government, was to engage with William Ruto. It is dangerous. You don't go and engage with somebody who is already, instead of holding the constitution, he is holding the sword. This is a man who can easily dispatch you to the Almighty, because he said it publicly that this sword I'm holding, I was given, is not for cutting vegetables. So Martha Koome, for heaven's sake, the foundation of the judiciary has been laid and was laid by the people who are there before her. Emeritus Chief Justice William Mutunga, Emeritus Chief Justice Maraga. They laid a very strong foundation. They abided by the Constitution, and they ran that arm of government following the Constitution. It will be very sad. It will be very sad if Martha Koome attempted to run another arm of the judiciary using any other method. She has the Constitution that protects her. It's a third arm of government. In fact, if you look at the people who are crafting the Constitution, I think these guys were extremely smart. Because Chapter 8 covers Parliament. So they make the laws, the oversight, and what have you. Chapter 9 deals with the executive. Chapter 10 deals with the judicial. So even if you look at the way it has been crafted, if you look at the way it has been structured, what the indication is that you receive justice. After all these things have been done, and you feel aggrieved, where do you end up to? You end up at the judiciary. That's why we are at the bottom.
Okay.
Not because they're less important, but because anybody who feels aggrieved must run to the judiciary. Okay? Now, I actually have come now to appreciate the fact that maybe His Excellency William Ruto was actually not ready for the job. Okay? Because the way he's running government the way they were probably running, the Youth for Kanu thing. Okay? He's forgetting that, people have outgrown. He's forgetting that people are now smart. He's forgetting that we are now operating under a new constitution that must be followed to the latter. He's forgetting that the days of an imperial president are long gone. Okay? So there is something called a doctrine of separation of powers. Let him operate within the confines of the Constitution. Let the judiciary operate. Let Parliament operate independently. Because there must be checks and balances. Okay? Because if we operate without checks and balances, there is bound to be excesses by one arm of government. Okay? But again, you find that you're dealing with somebody who wasn't in my own understanding, estimation, somebody who, he still had some rough edges that were supposed to have been dealt with before assuming office. And now I understand why we may blame the whites who colonized Africa. I now understand why these people never left leadership just to Tom, Dick, and Harry. They had to prepare you. I don't think William was prepared.
I would want to know, you're saying it's a wrong move for the CJ to call for this dialogue. And you have the president going out to the public, speaking the way he wants to about the judiciary, not making any substantive claim without any evidence. And the CJ is sitting at her office thinking, I cannot let this continue. What should she do? Because look, we are not trusting the judiciary now, and we want all this thing to end. Isn't this the smart move to call the president and say, look, now show us your evidence?
You see, Jadel, I mean, it is good to dialogue. It is good to consult. But consultations must be done within the framework of the law. Here, you have one arm of government trying to untwist other arms of government. You have a president who is trying to act as an imperial president. You have a president who thinks that if things don't go his way, then you must get to the highway. Okay? So I, first of all, do not understand why even Chief Justice Kome will entertain William Ruto.
Okay.
Why am I saying that? The man is dishonest. The man is holding a sword before, instead of holding a constitution. The man is a litigant because he's complaining. Then also, remember, he has not complained formally. He is only issuing roadside statements and in funerals and in barazas and on the roads. Why, if he has a genuine complaint, he is not above the law. He is a Kenyan. Why can't he file a formal complaint to the Judicial Service Commission? Number two, and this is why I say that there's no need to have this discussion they're having. They can go and have tea and mandazi. After all, that's what they do. They have no business, because the same person he's meeting has already called the judiciary corrupt. He has already cast aspersion. He has already said many things about the judiciary. This is a man who does not respect the other arm of government. So what business do you even have? You know, you are a litigant, you are a complainant. But you forget you are just throwing casting aspersion. So if our mother Kome, that is something that I will completely avoid, because he's just like any other Kenyan. And there's also an established procedure to be followed in addressing such issues. Okay? So why can't he just follow the procedure as laid down in the law? That this is a procedure to follow. Why is he, you know, and I think what His Excellency the President thought would happen, you know, when he took over, courtesy the same Supreme Court, courtesy the same judicial system that confirmed his presidency, the same one, courtesy the same judicial process that found some gaps in BPI. I think he underestimated the way the Constitution had been drafted. He thought that by giving some goodies to the judiciary, by being lovey-dovey to the judiciary, or being lovey-dovey at the apex with the Chief Justice, that the Chief Justice can single-handedly issue instructions to the Court of Appeal, to the judges and magistrates.
Do you think that is the case?
It is not, yes.
When he appointed the 6 judges?
He appointed the 6 judges, and you were told the issues. And I have no issues with the judges being appointed, but there seem to have been issues, because 13 months down the line, he's already complaining about the same people as appointed. It means that he was doing it for, you know, for his own convenience. You know, I think he was not being genuine. He was not being honest when he was making that quick action. Okay? Because how can you do that and a few months down the line you're complaining? Then he gave the judiciary something, not he gave, actually he claims to have given the judiciary funding.
Yeah.
That is first of all wrong. I think this man is living somewhere. I don't know, something wrong with William, because you see, he has no money to give anybody. I know he has a lot of money to give people.
Yeah.
He has.
Yeah.
And then confess that he has given money once. You see,
let's get into that.
No, let me tell you.
He's given you some money before.
What I am saying is, he does not have personal money to dish around. So if the Constitution says that we must allocate 4% of budget of the audited previous year's audited budget, 3%, 4% to the judiciary, his job, in fact, has no job there. Treasury are supposed to ensure that those resources are, are given to the judiciary. So he can't say, I've now given judiciary have now given judiciary
increased their budget.
their budget. He has not given. This is not his personal money. It's not family money. These are public funds, and is only acting within the confines of the constitution. In fact, by the time he's signing, it has gone through due process.
If you look at this story, President Uhuru Kenyatta said he did not appoint the 6 judges because of integral issues. President Ruto comes and appoints them. How would you interpret that? And now coming and saying that the judiciary is corrupt.
You see, maybe the former president, retired Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, probably he read the report. He must have read some, because a president doesn't just act, without consultation. So he probably must have read the report and found certain issues with certain judges. I'm not saying all of them.
Yeah.
Some of them. So I don't know whether William Ruto read that report. So I really don't know why he was so eager to quickly sign off, and get this the judges appointed. You see, there is no, there is no president, him or the ones who have been there before, act from nothing, from nowhere. They act based on advice. So he can now not blame the same judiciary where he was quick to appoint 6 judges and say that, I'm doing this because my predecessor failed to do it. Now I've done it. I think he was hoping that by facilitating the judiciary, which is his constitutional duty to facilitate, it is his job. He applied for the job. It is part of his job description. Yeah. So he thought that by doing that, he will be able to, to manage the entire judicial process, the entire judiciary. He was wrong on that one. These are independent people. They're supposed to be independent. They're supposed to be fair. They're supposed to think. They're supposed to interpret the Constitution and make sure that any judgment, any ruling is, first of all, based on the law and facts presented. Nothing short of that.
Then we go back to Azimio leader Raila Odinga, who says, look, if this dialogue happens, we're going to compromise the judiciary. This is not, as you say, within the framework of the Constitution too. Now, how can the CJ be influenced in an open dialogue that is transparent? And we want to know the answers to these simple questions. Who are the judges that are corrupt? And why do you say that the judiciary is under tyranny? How can the CJ be compromised?
You see, first of all, if you look at chapter 10 of the Constitution, which deals with the judiciary, the judiciary is supposed to produce a report every year, annually. Yeah? How many cases have been done? What has happened in the judiciary? Whether they, have met the objectives that set. So there's an annual report. This annual report is actually shared by His Excellency the President and other arms of government. So if the President read that report, I'm assuming he read the first one because I saw him, actually he was hosted by the CJ.
Yeah.
And he was handed over the report, the first report. I'm assuming that he read. If he had issues, he would have immediately pinpointed and said, I think this report of yours has gaps. But since he has never complained about the report, I'm assuming that he was happy about the report. So it is dangerous because what is the agenda for that meeting? Have we been told the agenda for that meeting? What has actually forced the two arms of government to come to a table? Because one has been making pronouncements by the roadsides that some certain judges are corrupt, judiciary is corrupt. He has the president has not filed any form of a report. So what is the base of that? What is the agenda of that meeting? Me, I think there's no agenda. So absolutely no agenda. It's a waste of public funds. It's a waste of time for these two arms of government, to meet.
So
because why are they meeting? You don't have a set agenda. What are you meeting to discuss?
There's no complaint.
There's no complaint. Number two, Yeah? These are fellows, executive, who have cases before you. Is that not dangerous? If I'm facing a judge and I have a case before a judge, and I'm having tea and mandazi with that judge in my house, is that the way we're supposed to operate? These are things that the new, now it's not even a new cause, that the Constitution of 2010 stopped.
Do you think that
Operate independently, but you are independent.
okay?
That you know there must be consultation, but within that consultation framework, it doesn't allow you. It doesn't allow one arm of government to try and muzzle the other arm of government.
If you're asked, do you think the judiciary has been intimidated?
You know what? You see, there are two weighty matters.
To call this,
there are two weighty matters before the judiciary, and I don't want to discuss, really get into details about this one, because they are before our courts, and I respect the courts. There are two matters before the courts, and CJ is in contempt. Because number one is the issue of housing that Ruto is hell-bent in implementing. I don't know why. When that particular function has actually been devolved. It's a devolved function, but it's hell-bent. He's now saying, oh, it was in the manifesto, I must implement, I know people need housing. You know, this is, come on, hogwash. Then the other one is universal health care. Again, a function that has been devolved. Why can't you just empower the counties to deliver those functions? But anyway, a story for another day. CJ will be making the greatest mistake to dialogue where there's no agenda, where the two people are meeting. If indeed it's it has nothing, because it appears as if the meeting has nothing to do with national security, it must be in the open. Let them have this meeting in the open. Invite the media. Let the president raise his issues openly. Let us get into this discussion.
Let's listen.
Because why are they holding this meeting in camera?
Kisia, how possible is these talks likely to affect the ruling of 25th when it comes to the housing levy and the construction now of affordable houses?
Again, the matters before our courts of law. Courts of law, let us not really deviate into these matters. But allow me just to comment. Courts are supposed to be independent. Courts and the judicial process should instill confidence in its people. The courts need to be impartial, exercise impartiality. The courts need to be fair and just. Okay? Now, because since they're inviting, they're the arbiters. And the CJ has agreed to meet one complainant. Then we, people from the other side, who have a problem with his universal health care, who have a problem with his housing, must be in that meeting. We should be in that meeting. Otherwise, we have every reason to believe that that meeting is not being held in good faith, and they have agreed to have this meeting because they don't want to be squeezed. My prayer is that even if that should happen in that meeting, which I'm totally against, if that were to happen, that the judges will remain independent, impartial, and they'll give us a fair ruling, a fair judgment. They should not listen to CJ if he comes with some report from State House.
All right.
But if she should have said, okay, you are just a litigant like any other fellows. You're just a litigant, you're a complainant. Yeah, the matter is before me. You want to talk about housing and universal health care and corruption? Let these other parties also come into the meeting. But otherwise, I think the CJ, Martha Koome, the first lady CJ in the Republic of Kenya, would have failed us completely. I hope she doesn't fail us.
So
because history will judge Martha Koome harshly.
Which is the best way of dealing with these roadside declarations by the president when it comes to us Kenyans thinking we should not trust the judiciary because of what the president is saying? Senior Counsel Abner Nasir said, look, this woman is oblivious of what the situation in the judiciary. Which is the best way for her to deal with this mistrust that Kenyans are now having because of the president's assertions?
Just be fair. Be fair, be firm, and follow the Constitution. Nothing short of that. Just be fair, be firm, follow the... Because if you do that, people are not stupid. They'll see, there's fairness here. That this ruling was not influenced. Anything short of that, we shall know that Martha Koome has been compromised. Yeah? And while we celebrated her as being the First Lady, Chief Justice, she would have failed our mothers, she would have failed our wives, she would have failed our daughters, she would have failed Kenya, she would have failed Africa, she would have failed the globe, she would have failed the world, she would have failed completely. Please save us from failure and embarrassment.
Period.
Be firm. The ones who were before you stood firm. They governed, or they managed the judiciary through the Constitution, and that is why we continue celebrating them. Martha Koome, please do the right thing.
Good place to wrap up. That has been our conversation on Ruto CJ Koome dialogue. Kisia, you have your constitution. You are to read it while or not?
Now you see, I just want to advise my friend and my president, Dr. Samoei Ruto. He should stop living the past. Let him stop living the past. Let him not imagine that you can apply the old tactics within the new democratic space with the constitution that we have and survive. You will not survive. You will not survive. It doesn't matter how long it takes, but you will not survive. Because if he thinks they can muzzle people, if he thinks they can suppress people, including the judiciary, including parliament, so that he's left alone to rule, I can assure him that the people of this country are ready to face him up to the last man. He will not manage.
He will not survive.
He will not survive, he will not manage. Let him abide by the Constitution. He applied for the job knowing that this is how things are. He applied for the job knowing very well that he will not govern this country using the old Constitution. There is a Constitution that we all, maybe not all of us, but a majority of us said, this is a good document for this country. Let us, for the time being, use it until a time we think otherwise. So please, as painful as it may be, my president, please abide by the Constitution, because I can see some dangerous trend setting in. Because you are saying you are going to disobey court orders. Tomorrow, the Kenyans who are law-abiding will stop abiding by the law. I'll give some very basic examples. The law allows about, I think, 3 or 4 ministers, to override the Traffic Act. They can do certain things that you cannot do. Supposing we start blocking them. I have seen even some ministers, they are dropping 2 kids to school like I do. They want to overtake. They want to, cause, break the traffic regulations. We shall start stopping them. Supposing we do the thing that is unbelievable, and it can be done. The same court that is undermining, the same judiciary is undermining, President William Ruto is undermining. Supposing now we say, wait a minute, we want to revisit the ruling that was made by the same Supreme Court and say, we don't agree with them, therefore we're removing from office. Supposing that happens, and it can happen. We have seen the mighty in Africa being brought down. Not only in Africa, even in Europe. Mighty people being brought down. You can be brought down, my friend.
It happened in Sri Lanka. It has
happened. It has happened in advanced countries. Who tells him it cannot happen here? Who told him?
So you're saying...
Let him get out of slumber, man.
CJ Koome to stand firm and Ruto to know that he will not survive if he continues with this.
Yes, if he continues with the same trajectory. William Ruto will not complete his term.
Well, what a place to wrap up. Not a good place, but a place to wrap up with Philip Kisia. Philip Kisia is unscripted, saying it as he says it. Former Nairobi Town Clerk, ex-KICC CEO, leadership and governance expert. I hope you share this conversation with as many people as possible so that we can reach the president, reach the judiciary to know that this is the state of this country. Until we do talk again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.